next thing that I heard that it was in the boat was sank all day.
Family members mourn after a deadly voyage.
If this is in any way connected to smuggling people to the United States, it's got to be stopped, and it's got to be stopped dead in its tracks.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says a full investigation is underway. And another fire at AID. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, 8 people have been arrested in connection with the Abaco boat tragedy, which left at least 11 people dead. That announced by National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage today. Meantime, the bodies of victims recovered from the waters of North Abaco were brought to the capital this morning as a second day of searches began and ended with no success. Reports are that a trip to Florida from Abaco, which began late Sunday afternoon, ended in tragedy for passengers aboard the 25-foot vessel Glory Time. Officials say the vessel went down off North Abaco in the area of Hawksbill Key. Our Clint Watson has the story tonight with exclusive video you'll only see on ZNS.
You're looking at exclusive video shot by ZNS cameraman Valentino Banier at the Lyndon Pilling International Airport early this morning when an aircraft transported the recovered bodies from that deadly boat disaster off Abaco yesterday. The bodies were offloaded and taken by police and Commonwealth Funeral Home staff to the Rand Memorial Lab at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Police say the 25 to 30-foot boat left Abaco around 5 p.m. Sunday with 28 people on board. But shortly after that tragedy struck, the boat reportedly experienced difficulty with one of the engines, which slowed their progress, and as a result of the rough seas, the boat began to take on water and eventually capsized. When the story first broke, 11 bodies were recovered. The survivors were few. Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Roderick Bowe, said one of the men that managed to swim ashore in Foxtown summoned help.
Up to the date, we got an additional report that there were 5 young boys who swam ashore as well. And so that means a total of 6 persons survived so far, and we got 11 bodies.
While it is believed that the passengers were Haitians, authorities aren't confirming their nationality and say it might be even more difficult to determine who was the captain. They're also not saying whether the boat is a Bahamian-registered vessel. Commodore Bowe expressing gratitude and satisfaction in the multi-agency partnership that assisted in the rescue and recovery efforts. Commander of Operations Nedley Martin-Barrows says because Abaco was a large boating community, they make regular patrols. So fortunately, personnel were close by when the call came. He reveals, though, that time played a major role in their ability to rescue.
If they had received the report earlier, there's a possibility that some more lives might have been saved. Unconfirmed reports noted that this vessel may have capsized from as early as 8 p.m. on Sunday evening. And that's a great length of time to be in the water. Where the vessel was found is not an indication of where it actually capsized. It actually is suspected to have capsized some 2 miles from that position. So we were very fortunate even to recover bodies still in the area of the vessel when it was found. So the time definitely played a great factor in this.
In the last year alone, 100 distress calls have been received, 300 people rescued. Commodore Bowe says it's a big part of their work.
Because of either running out of fuel, engine problems, and then we check these boats, there's no communication, there's no fuel, food, or water on board. And so a trip that may require a boating of over 2 hours could end up being a 2-day ordeal because insufficient information comes to us. You would have families calling and say, well, my loved one left to go fishing. You ask them questions where did they go or where did they leave from? No one knows.
Now for a second day, Commodore Bowe says they were out conducting search and rescue efforts. No word on whether any other bodies or whether any persons were found alive. They continue to investigate this tragedy. Clint Watson, ZNS News.
The chilling chain of events was recounted in Parliament this afternoon as National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage delivered a special communication. Telling the story as relayed by one of the survivors, Dr. Nottage said an anonymous call to the Marsh Harbour Police Station reported that the vessel had capsized in North Abaco. While police and Defence Force teams responded, this is what the survivor told authorities.
A man who was reported to be a Bahamian national of Haitian origin reported to the police that he was aboard the vessel during the entire ordeal. He stated that his mother insisted that he go to the United States aboard the vessel, which was a 25 to 30 footer, Mako white with blue stripes, named Glory Time. The journey began somewhere in Treasure Key. He reports that there were 28 persons aboard the vessel when they set sail at 5 p.m. on Sunday, 10th of June, en route to Florida.
Authorities also learned from this survivor that each of the occupants of the ill-fated vessel, 28 people in all, paid $5,000 a head for the trip. But the events which followed put an end to their journey and, sadly, a still uncertain number of lives.
Sometime after 8 p.m. on the same date, they began experiencing engine problems when one of the engines kept cutting off, which slowed the vessel down. He reports that also on board the vessel were 4 large drums containing fuel and oil. And he reported that the seas were very rough and the vessel began to take on water. The vessel eventually capsized and everyone began to scramble to save their lives. He reported that he did his best to save other persons, but the sea was too rough, so he had to save his own life. He recalls the gender of those aboard prior to the incident to be 9 children, 5 young females between the ages of 18 to 30, and 14 males.
6 people would swim to shore, but quickly disappeared. It was hours later, at 3 p.m., that police and Defense Force crews would report finding the bow of the vessel between Mount Hope and Foxtown, along with the men, women, and children who went down with it.
A male resident of Crown Haven, Abaco, also went to the area on another vessel and was able to dive up from the sunken vessel 11 bodies, all that appeared to be lifeless.
Now up to news time, 10 people remained unaccounted for. Meantime, we've learned more still today about the victims of the tragedy. It was revealed today that at least 9 of the victims were close relatives. Victor Alafrance told ZNS News outside the coroner's court this afternoon that he lost 6 nieces and 3 nephews to the accident.
Who used to live with me, and their daddy decided to take them out of Abaco. Next thing that I heard that they was on the boat was sank all day. Jessica used to go to Stevie Battle. Alviana has go to Air Fatley. We have the other young lady is with now. She's going to Doris Johnson.
And the boy, where did he go?
Them boys, they was at the school in Abaco.
Alafrance says his family is still coming to terms with the tragic death of their loved ones. He's expected to formally identify their bodies at the Rand morgue on Wednesday morning. Meantime, relatives of 9 of the 11 people who perished in the boating tragedy off Abaco yesterday met with coroner Linda Virgil at the coroner's court today in connection with the incident. The court is preparing for an inquiry into the deaths. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration Fred Mitchell tonight is calling for an investigation into the tragedy. He promises a thorough investigation and vows that if any wrongdoing is found, justice will be served.
Let me express my condolences to those who've lost their lives in this tragic situation, to the families of those who've lost their lives, and to the Haitian government and people. If this is in any way connected to smuggling people to the United States, it's got to be stopped, and it's got to be stopped dead in its tracks. You know, little children are dead. How do you know that you're going into circumstances of such great danger and take little children and lead them into this. So the investigation has to be done. The full extent of the law must be brought to bear on those who are responsible, if indeed this is either negligent or criminal. And then we have to redouble our efforts on the international front to try and control this, stop this, stamp this out.
Acknowledging that it's the extreme poverty in Haiti and the wealth of North America which drives the migration problem, Minister Mitchell says while the work continues to end human smuggling, collective efforts must also be made to help Haiti to regain its economic independence and stability.
All of us must redouble our efforts in the Republic of Haiti to try and resolve those problems of poverty. And all of us in the international community, our trading partner and ally to the north, the United States, and ourselves have to join together to see what we can do to stop this kind of thing from happening.
In other news tonight, the coroner's court is conducting preliminary investigations into the death of 22-year-old Tyrone Saunders. He's the suspect who died in police custody at the Central Detective Unit on Sunday. Fern Carey has more.
Some 4 days after 22-year-old Tyrone Saunders was found dead while in custody at CDU headquarters on Thompson Boulevard, a coroner's inquest into the causes and circumstances of his death has been ordered. Coroner Linda Virgil indicated that inquests are standard procedure in matters that have been classified as, quote, suspicious in nature, end quote. Saunders, a 22-year-old father of one and the oldest of two children, was reportedly taken into custody at the Grove Police Station Thursday past and was expected to face formal charges the next day. But Saunders never made it to court as he was found unresponsive in a cell at CDU on Friday night. Saunders' mother, Joanne McKenzie, claims she saw her son at 8 o'clock Friday night and police came to her at 9:40, taking her to the station where she was told that her son had died. Police say that Coroner Linda Virgil was later called into CDU and Saunders' body was taken to Princess Margaret Hospital. However, Saunders' relatives are still seeking answers on how he died. Now it's unclear exactly when Tyrone Saunders' coroner's inquest will open, but one thing is certain: when it does, one question jurors will be looking to answer is exactly how Saunders met his death. Fern Carey, ZNS News.
A man has been arraigned in connection with that shooting at the Ballers nightclub on East Bay and Mackey Streets. Police have charged 20-year-old El Shadday Ferguson with murder in connection with the incident, which resulted in 8 people being shot, 2 of them fatally. Court papers allege that on Tuesday, May 29th, Ferguson intentionally and by means of unlawful harm caused the death of Cordero Findley. A voluntary bill of indictment is expected to be filed to fast-track the case. Ferguson is being held without bail at the Fox Hill prison. The case has been adjourned. A small fire broke out at AID Wolf Road today. The fire reportedly broke out as workmen were tearing down the car wash section, which survived a fire at the Wolf Road location last June. Now, the fire broke out shortly after 10 o'clock this morning, and we're told firefighters were called in and the blaze was quickly extinguished. Fortunately, no one was injured during the incident. Still no resolution in sight for the final sale of City Markets Limited. The former employees of that company were made redundant back in March after several attempts to contact City Markets principals. Labor Minister Shane Gibson told ZNS News this afternoon that he was finally able to get clarification on the matter from the food store's owner, Mark Finlayson, earlier today. The executive told the Labor Minister that an agreement has been reached, but other transactions still have yet to take place.
The employees met with me, some of them yesterday, and they were concerned about not getting any information as to what was happening. And so he indicated that the business has not been sold yet, that there is an agreement in place with someone who is interested in purchasing them. They're looking at perhaps receiving payment over the next several weeks, and as soon as payment is received, then they would begin to take all of their obligations.
Minister Gibson says legislation needs to be amended so that workers in similar circumstances aren't disadvantaged in the future.
If you remember, there was a company called Gladstone Farms that shut down. Those employees have not been compensated yet. And in the Bahamas, it's not, as far as I know, it's not a publicly traded company. It was a private company. I think the Finlaysons, from what I understand, a group led by them, my understanding is they bought it for $1 or whatever it was, and the company was in trouble from day one. And you know, it's unfortunate what happened. That's why we need to look at strengthening our laws to make sure that we try to minimize these types of things from happening.
Still to come tonight, the Parliament moves to complete the first step in passing the budget. There's more from the budget debate coming up after this.